Welcome back to another edition of TEC Tube. I'm your host, Ryan Holger, and today we're going to talk about upgrading Infinity, Evolution, and Ion thermostats from a software perspective. There's different versions of hardware of these stats, and hence there's different ways that you could physically update them. Obviously, they can be updated over Wi-Fi. I'm not going to cover that today. That just shows up when the stat's on Wi-Fi. It pops up on the screen, says, do you want to update it? You say yes, life goes on. So we're going to focus today on updating without Wi-Fi. So for example, if you install a brand new system, the thermostat that you got might be older. So you might have a brand new AC, heat pump, or furnace that has a model number newer than the thermostat knows about. So you'll need to update the software on the thermostat so it can actually function with that. So if you have the old A series stats, which I don't have one in front of me here, those ones get updated with a standard USB, which is like you've been using for your whole life for the past 20 years. If you have the B series stats, which are very common out there, they update with a micro SD card. That's this little tiny card here, right? And sometimes you'll use an adapter depending on your computer. So my computer actually accepts a micro SD. My old computer didn't, and I had to use the adapter, right? And then the most current version, which is the C style, those ones update with a USB-C stick. That's the little tiny one. It looks very similar to what you'd use. Not very similar, it is the same as what you'd use for your laptop charger connection or your cell phone connection, USB-C. You will need to procure one of these USB-C sticks. Specifically, you have to get one that's between 4 and 32 gigabytes. So when you buy this, do not get one bigger than 32 gigabytes. Don't worry about going too small because you won't be able to find one too small. To get one that's 32 is pretty tough. I had to go on Amazon to get this because a local store would not have one this small. So you need 32 gigabytes or smaller. Today we're going to update a USB-C, but the process is identical for all three of these. The very first step is to go and get the software, procure that from somewhere. There are three places you can get the software from. The consumer websites, which I'll show you in a second here, the dealer website, which is hvacpartners.com. That site always gets it updated before the consumer websites, but that site is kind of a little bit hard to navigate, but you would get a weak head start on new software. Or you can get it from our tech support group, which may email you a file that describes how to install the software and has the link to download it. So if you're going to the consumer sites, you'd be going to what are actually the old sites that most people don't use anymore, but they still have the active software. myevolutionconnects.bryant.com, ioncomfort.com, and myinfinitytouch.carrier.com. If you go to any one of those sites, you can click on the download tab and get to this software. So I'm gonna do this one right here. The A software, the B series hardware, and the C series hardware are on there. Today I'm updating a C series, so I'm gonna click on that one. It gives me the licensing agreement. I will say yes to that after I read it thoroughly, and then I will download it. All right, so I have it sitting there in my download folder. I'm going to take the flash drive and put it into my computer. I'm going to open up the flash drive. You can have other stuff on your flash drive, but the software needs to be installed in a folder called tstat. When I downloaded it, it was not in a folder called tstat. It says version 1.64 and it's a zip file. Do not copy that over onto the flash drive. Instead, open it up. There's the folder called tstat that I want to copy over. So I'm going to copy it over to my USB flash drive, say copy here. That gets installed. When I open it up, it's got the software version and licensing information, so I can go read all the rules and how it's supposed to work. And it has step-by-step instructions in there like I'm going to show you today, but that's all in there. The actual software is right here. It starts with a C if it's for version C stuff. So this is version C Infinity, version 1.64. In my case, I'm actually going to delete that. You won't do this part, I'm just deleting it. I have too many things open. Close that. Okay, then delete it. The reason I'm doing that is I have on my flash drive a file that's already set up that has that software on it, as well as the software for this, as well as the A series software. So I have my C series software most current, my B series most current, and my old A series most current. You can have them all sitting there in the same file, and the stat's smart enough to only look for the one that applies to it. So I just keep them all together to keep my life clean. All right, but once I have that tstat folder on here, I'm good to go. There are two other folders that Infinity, Evolution, Ion Stats could look for. One would be called Dealer, And in that folder, you can have your dealer logo and contact info set up on there. That's a separate video. And there's one called user where the consumer could load a screensaver photo. You can have other stuff in the folder, that's fine. It just looks for the one that it cares about. So I have that set up. I'm gonna go ahead and close that file, and then I'm gonna go down and eject this USB drive. All right, here we are at a C controller. This one is not on Wi-Fi, so it means it has not been updated at any point in time recently. I got my USB-C drive that we had set up a minute ago. So on the stat, I'm gonna click on the stat. I'm gonna go to menu. I'm gonna scroll down to where it says service. I'll click on there, and I have one called software update. However, before I do that, I'm gonna go to model serial number and click on there, and system control to see what version I'm on. So this is actually on version 1.50 software. So you could always do that to check, even if you're not doing an update. Maybe you want to check and decide if you're going to do an update. This thermostat was manufactured in the 48th week of 2024. So like the first week of December, basically, or last week of November, whatever that comes out to be. All right, so we're going to update it to 1.64. So I go back, software update, right? I have the ability to update on Wi-Fi, but since I'm not on Wi-Fi, that's grayed out. So I'm going to do update for using USB-C. Update my system control. Put my drive in. And it comes back and says, hey, you're on version 1.5. You're going to go to 1.64. Do you want to do that, yes or no? And I will say yes. If I was updating on Wi-Fi, it'd be the same thing, except it would have pre-downloaded the Wi-Fi through Wi-Fi, pre-downloaded the software and asked me on the main screen and then got me to there. The problem with updating on Wi-Fi for new installs is that it doesn't update right away. You hook it up to Wi-Fi and you may get a broadcast today, you may get it tomorrow with the new software, etc. Just like with your cell phone, we all don't get the new phone software update at the exact same moment. I get mine today, you get yours on Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. So that's the problem with doing that on a new install. Once it's up and running in someone's house, it's fine. Like a new software update comes, it asks you if you want it, great. But from an installation standpoint, if you need the new software to talk to new equipment, you're gonna have to update it manually like this. So right now it's doing the update. This will take a few minutes. We'll speed this up so you don't listen to me talk the whole time, but it'll take a few minutes and it'll reboot the stat and then come back online for us. All right, that installed. Software successfully upgraded to version 1.64. I hit done. It'll reboot the stat. Once again, we gotta wait a minute or two for that to happen, and then everything will be good to go. So hopefully this helps you guys out in terms of setting these up. And then if not, find another video.